The Lord be with you. I'm Deacon Keith Fournier. Our first reading is from the Acts of the Apostles. When Pentecost Day came round, they had all met together, when suddenly there came from heaven a sound as of a violent wind, which filled the entire house in which they were sitting. And there appeared to them tongues as of fire. These separated and came to rest on the head of each of them. They were all filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak different languages as the Spirit gave them power to express themselves. Now there were devout men living in Jerusalem from every nation under heaven. And at this sound they all assembled, and each one was bewildered to hear these men speaking his own language. They were amazed and astonished. Surely, they said, all these men speaking are Galileans. How does it happen that each of us hears them in his own native language? Parthians, Medes, and Elamites, people from Mesopotamia, Judea and Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia, Egypt, and the parts of Libya around Cyrene, residents of Rome, Jews and proselytes alike, Cretans and Arabs, we hear them preaching in our own language about the marvels of God. And our response from Psalm 104. Bless Yahweh, my soul. Yahweh, my God, how great you are, clothed in majesty and splendor. How countless are your works, Yahweh, all of them made so wisely. The earth is full of your creatures. Turn away your face, and they panic. Take back their breath, and they die, and revert to dust. Send out your breath, and life begins. You renew the face of the earth. Glory to Yahweh forever. May Yahweh find joy in his creatures. May my musings be pleasing to him, for Yahweh gives me joy. Our second reading is from the first letter of the Apostle Paul to the Corinthians. Because of that, I want to make it quite clear to you that no one who says a curse on Jesus can be speaking in the Spirit of God. And no one is able to say Jesus is Lord except in the Holy Spirit. There are many different gifts, but it is always the same Spirit. There are many different ways of serving, but it is always the same Lord. There are many different forms of activity, but in everybody it is the same God who is at work in them all. The particular manifestation of the Spirit granted to each one is to be used for the general or common good. For as with the human body, which is a unity, although it has many parts, all the parts of the body, though many, still making up one single body, so it is with Christ. We were baptized into one body in a single Spirit, Jews as well as Greeks, slaves as well as free men, and we were all given the same Spirit to drink. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. John. In the evening of that same day, the first day of the week, the doors were closed in the room where the disciples were for fear of the Jews. Jesus came and stood among them. He said to them, "Peace be with you." And after saying this, he showed them his hands and his side. The disciples were filled with joy at seeing the Lord, and he said to them again, "Peace be with you. As the Father sent me, so I am sending you." After saying this, he breathed on them and said, "Receive the Holy Spirit. If you forgive anyone's sins, they are forgiven. If you retain anyone's sins, they are retained." The Gospel of the Lord.